Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to be here with all of you. Few minutes delay there, but we're going strong. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell. It's going to be a great conversation tonight. Got a number of things to speak with all of you about. So let's jump right into it.
American century. I say that the century on which we are entering can be and must be the century of the common man.
A radical redistribution of economic power.
I mean, we know that racism is a byproduct of capitalism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people.
We need a government that will make sure Americans are taken care of and organize the economy to serve the people, not the profits of a wealthy few.
We now have the techniques and the resources to get rid of poverty.
We got to start getting out there with the people.
Get out of the movement and get to the masses.
We need a government of action.
All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to be here with you. So glad that the weather is getting tolerable and nice here in New York City finally. Yeah, it's good. And, a lot of things are happening in the world. The Pentagon leaks look like a game changer. And, oh, man, a lot of things are happening in the world. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell. If you're new here, the way we do things is I give my opening remarks. And those opening remarks are then followed by a roll call, and we find out who it is on the other side of the camera who's watching, because there's hundreds of people watching live usually. We want to give an opportunity to shout out, give everyone their special shout out. Find out who's on the other side of the camera and the different parts of the world and the United States that people are watching from. And then on top of that, after I do the roll call, that's when I answer people's super chat questions for the remainder of the night. So if there's something you would like me to speak about in the second half of the show, send me a super chat, because I will get to it in the second half of the show. I will write it down, and as long as the super chats keep coming, I keep talking. So it's up to you how good the second half of our show is. A lot of times people ask super chats that really get me going. Sometimes people ask me a good question that gets me talking, and sometimes answering those super chats really, really gets me going and gets me to bring out some of my best stuff. We're on here telling jokes and having fun. So if you want me to talk about something good in the second half of the show, shoot me a super chat. Couple business items to go over before we get started. The first of which is, if you like what we do here in this organization, if you like what we do here on these streams, you really ought to join the Center for Political Innovation. And here is the link to become a member. You really ought to join. We need members. We're getting ready to continue carrying out our function. Got some exciting plans coming up for coming months. So we'd really like to have you as well. Okay. Fair question. Fair question. All righty. And yeah, we'd like to have you join the organization. All righty. So there's that. The other thing I wanted to mention is, people often want to come back to what we do here. They want to listen to a particular talk or presentation that we've done here on the stream. But if I were to just cut and post video of every stream we did, it would ruin the notifications. And already people don't get notifications. So we have set up another channel. Bum, bum, bum. There is another channel. It's called Caleb Maupin Videos. So subscribe to Caleb Maupin videos. This is the other channel. You can see my most recent presentation, the concept of revolution and leftist aesthetics. I talked about that the other night. It was a really important presentation. We don't want it to just go away. You know, and it's of course it's archived on this channel as live number whatever number it is, but we also want people to see it, you know, cut as a separate piece. So if you go over to the other channel, the presentation I gave a couple nights ago that people really liked, that was called the concept of revolution and leftist aesthetics. I think it was last night I gave it. You can go and watch it. It's cut as a separate piece. So go and subscribe to that channel. Because we need people there. We need subscribers there. And that's a good place to keep up with smaller videos, smaller clips from these streams. If you have a suggestion, if there's something on this stream that I say, a comment I make, or an answer to a question, or something that you want to preserve, you can cut it for me. Or you can suggest it to me to cut it. And that's where we'll post it. We'll post it on the Caleb Maupin videos channel. So that's a good place to go. So go and subscribe to the Caleb Maupin videos channel if you want to keep up with clips from these streams. You know, just, you know, some of them's the songs we play on here, etc. Go and subscribe to this other channel. That's a good place to do that. You know, and also, you know, we like to build the channels of people in this community. Tyler McConnell, he's got a great YouTube channel, does a lot of great shorts. Peter Coffin's got an amazing YouTube channel. Bismuth Hertz has a great YouTube channel. He does great stuff. Space LaRouche, Liam, he has a great channel. You know, go subscribe to different channels, right? We want to make this community a network, really, right? We want to make it more than just one channel or one person. We want to make it a network. And of course, go and subscribe to the Center for Political Innovation. Our YouTube channel is active, of course, and we're posting videos there. And Proletarian TV is also posting all the videos from the CPI conference on their channel. So go and subscribe here. You can subscribe to the Center for Political Innovation YouTube channel. Always good to have you subscribe there. And then go subscribe to Proletarian TV with the Communist Party of Great Britain Marxist-Leninists, the CPGBML, right? You can go subscribe to them. They're posting all of the videos from our recent CPI conference on there. So we're getting around. We're getting stuff done. We're getting stuff done, and we would love to build and grow this community. Yeah, so I guess that's how we'll start out. Those are the business announcements I just wanted to make. And so next, I'm going to jump into my opening remarks. While I give my opening remarks, oh. All right. Thank you, Lewis. Okay, wrote it down. I got another one here. Okay. All right. Very good. A lot of good questions coming right in here at the opening of the show. It's going to be a lively second half, I can tell. So, you know, the other night, the previous stream, I did a whole thing about economics and politics. This stream, I thought I might have fun with some of our political opponents, some of the people who don't agree with what we do on this channel, some of the people who don't like what it is that we have to say. I thought we might have a little bit of fun with some of them. You know, I will say that whenever I do any argument, any polemic, any debate, you know, debating is important. Argument is important. I want people to learn from it. I don't know if people remember the debate I had with Maoist rebel Jason Unruhe, but I was starting out the debate trying to talk about politics because I wanted the audience to learn something from it. And he just kept trying to change the subject to personal drama. And it's like he doesn't want to teach his audience anything. He just wants to have a slap fest, a slap fight. And it was a little bit frustrating because I was actually trying to teach the audience, to lay some principles, like a foundation for our debate based on certain Marxist principles, etc. And he didn't want to do it because he doesn't see arguments as an opportunity to teach people. He sees arguments as just an opportunity to squabble and, get his personal ego out there. I see the point of arguments as being a back and forth, a dialectic in which we can learn something. The point of an argument is to advance to a higher stage, to clash a bit in order to reach a point, to reach a conclusion. That way we can learn and get to a higher stage. Unfortunately, we don't always see that, on the internet sphere, and especially a lot of these internet debates, the debate bro stuff. It's not that at all. It's not about trying to find truth or trying to achieve real solutions. It's just kind of a battle of egos, etc. But, I have a few debate points here that I think are relevant and important. The first one, this came in the aftermath of when I confronted the president of Taiwan. The president of Taiwan, the phony president of Taiwan, the actual president of Taiwan is named Xi Jinping, but the island of Taiwan has a government on it that claims to be the Republic of China, and that government is led by a woman named Tsai Ing-wen. And Tsai Ing-wen went to the United States to beg members of Congress to send more guns and weapons and to escalate further tension with China. And when she came to New York City, I made a point of confronting her here in New York City. And if you're curious about, what happened, in case you didn't see it at the time, I'll just remind you, this is what happened. This is how I confronted Tsai Ing-wen.
Represent what the American people want. All the polls show that the American people don't want a new war. The American people are sick and tired of our money being wasted on bombs and weapons and destruction, provoking a war with China, provoking a war with Russia, while our trains are derailing, people in the United States are suffering, our water's not being purified, our railroads are falling apart, our power grids are falling apart, and yet we pour more and more weapons and money into some stupid confrontation with China. China is not our enemy. Wall Street bankers are our enemy. No more provocations against China. China is not our enemy. 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 Get out of our country. Stop trying to sell war in our country. Stop trying to sell war in our country. We don't want a new war with China. We love America and we don't want a new war with China. China is not our enemy. Stop trying to sell war. Get out of our country. Stop trying to sell war. China is not our enemy. I'm a patriotic American. I love my country and I don't want World War III.
So yeah, that's what happened. And it shows you how rigged social media is. Millions of people watched this in China. This was an internet sensation in the People's Republic of China. On the Chinese mainland, this was all over TV. This was all over social media. It was shared millions of times, literally millions of times. I'm not exaggerating, on the Chinese version of TikTok, on Chinese social media. But on American Twitter, it only got like 350 retweets, which is bizarre. I was interviewed about it in the Global Times, and this was like a huge thing in China. But American media suppresses my social media and tries to cover up my social media, and just covered this up. Even though Chinese government officials were retweeting it, and for some reason they made sure in American social media and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube that this didn't blow up. But that's because it's rigged. It's completely rigged. It doesn't matter if millions of people are watching it somewhere else. They will make sure this doesn't blow up. They control the messaging of social media. Now, what's interesting is even though the U.S. social media that's so rigged by the American government, it's so rigged to promote U.S. foreign policy, didn't notice it. Of course, the anti-China people noticed it. The China stalkers noticed it. And a group of anti-China people has decided that clip and everything I said in it is completely invalid. Completely invalid. Has no merit, no bearing for one reason, which is that I work at RT. And because I work at RT, nothing I said about train derailments was true. Nothing I said about water was true. Nothing I said about polls showing the American people want peace was true. No. Me working at RT proves that Americans love Taiwan and want to have a big world war with China. I mean, that's their argument they make here. We'll show some of the clip of these people. This is their like brilliant debunking of the clip.
To this a little bit more because I was doing a little bit of analysis on the aftermath.
It's like two like Pentagon dude bros, you know, like one of them's wearing a suit and the other's got a crew cut, and they have a whole channel that's just all about hating China, how much they hate China. They don't even have the sense to like get an Asian person to do the channel with them. They have a hate channel, you know, against China. And they get on there and they're two like white dude bros who love the Pentagon and are stuffed shirt conservatives and think Joe Biden's a communist and a traitor and think Black Lives Matter is secretly run by China. And they get on there and they've got their YouTube channel.
Of the New York protest.
Yes.
All my eyes were on that one because it was unfolding and we knew people that were there. And I was watching this happen, and all of a sudden I noticed that the Chinese government was putting out propaganda in relation to it. And every time the Chinese government signal boosts someone or tweets someone out, my eyes get focused on it because I wonder, who is this person?
Yeah.
Why are they choosing them to like?
Because that's your job, to go around harassing dissidents, and you stalk Chinese media. You're getting paid. You're doing an internet grift to demonize China that gets promoted by American algorithms. That's why you pay attention to it. If they weren't paying you, and if this wasn't your gig as a pro-U.S. imperialist propagandist, you wouldn't care about this at all. You are just a professional warmonger trying to escalate tensions between the United States and the second largest economy in the world at a time the USA needs economic investment. But, you know, I digress. Continue.
Signal boost them. What motivations are behind the Chinese government or the person being filmed?
Yes.
Right? So here we have a clip from Hua Chunying, which is one of the wolf warriors of the Chinese government. Mm-hmm. And she put this out.
She's an official government spokesperson. She's not a wolf warrior. She's like, that's her job. Like, she's an official spokesperson of the Chinese government.
She said, he spoke the true voice of the American people, and they go.
And what I said was true. The American people don't want a new war. They're overwhelmingly anti-war. The American people want money on infrastructure, not military spending. That's true.
Interview this guy at the protests.
So
of these characters.
You can see they're holding up banners saying Taiwan is selling weapons or whatever, or selling war.
So who did they talk to? Let's see.
There's only one China. That's the U.S. law. Tsai Ing-wen is here to sell.
And that is true, actually. That is the U.S. law. The U.S. has recognizes only one China. That is U.S. law. So I'm speaking for the U.S. law when I say it's the U.S. law.
War. And we Americans don't want that war. We love
poll after poll shows the American people overwhelmingly do not want a new war with China.
our country. We want jobs and schools for Americans, not
Now, do Americans want jobs and schools for America?
more weapons to Taiwan, not a new war against China.
Americans overwhelmingly don't want war. All the polls show that. But are these guys going to buy that? No.
Now, we should do business with China. They've got a booming economy. They're lifting so many people out of poverty. Imagine if American companies...
They're lifting people out of poverty. Like, what's funny about that? What's funny about that? It's like it's never occurred to these guys that, like, people living in shacks without running water and electricity suddenly having running water and electricity and schools for their kids to go to, access to modern medicine and electricity and modern technology. It's like, that's retarded. No, it's, you know.
And Chinese companies could team up. We could get...
Pause that real quick.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I noticed very quickly was that in the bottom corner it said China Daily. So that was filmed for China Daily.
Yes.
Which is...
Oh no, a news outlet linked to China interviewed somebody. Oh no, that proves everything in it's a lie.
Chinese state media. And they make it look like they're just talking to some random ginger on the side of the road in this pro.
No, no. I was there at a protest.
Protest that somehow is very inspired to stand up against Taiwan in this protest.
Right.
Actually, I am, and I've been protesting my whole life. I was getting arrested when I was in college. I was part of Occupy Wall Street. So actually, yes, I have been protesting for years. So yeah, no.
And then go as far to say, which was shocking, to say that he spoke the true voice of American people, which is
actually true, according to all the polls. All the polls show the American people don't want a new war. They want more money for infrastructure. They want more money for jobs and education. So actually, yes, I was representing American public opinion when I spoke there.
just insanity to even say that. I mean, that's like, what is it called? It's like
generalization. I'm ask you as an American person, is this your true voice?
This is absolutely the opposite.
Utter insanity that the American people don't want to have a new war, that the American people want jobs and healthcare and education. Just utter insanity. Oh, just utter insanity. All right. I mean,
opposite of my true voice.
So this is not your true voice?
This is my fake voice.
This is what the foreign spokesperson, government official from China is saying is your true voice.
Yeah, actually, it is. The polls show that's what the American people want. But continue.
Correct. And this is just a random person interviewed, right? So I did a little
Doesn't
digging.
even sound like you.
No, it doesn't. I know, it's bullshit, right?
Yeah, it's not your true voice.
Anyway, let's see.
Okay, who is this guy?
I'll play the sound.
Oh, sorry.
I made a sound.
Oh, you made a sound. My bad. Sorry.
It's important.
I'll take it right back.
Key.
Okay, the sound is key.
They're lifting so many people out of poverty. Imagine if American companies and Chinese companies could team up.
Yeah. So who is he?
Pause it right there. Go back. I'd like to read his blurb.
Okay, let's read it. Who is this guy?
His name is Caleb Maupin, and he is a RT journalist.
So for those.
So your point? What's your point? And what? And what is your point? Like, I mean, how does that change anything that I said? How does that in any way change the reality of what I said? It doesn't.
Those of you who don't know, that's Russia Today, right?
Russia Today.
Oh my God, someone who's connected to Russia said something, so therefore it can't be true.
Russian state media. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, obviously not just a random voice of the American people over here. This is a voice.
Actually, it is, according to all the polls.
He's
the Russian
an
people.
analyst on RT. Let me read it.
Right. Russia is a different country than China, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, go for it.
Caleb Maupin is a radical journalist and a political analyst who lives in New York City, originally from Ohio. Jeez, what's wrong with Ohio?
I don't know. Maybe
he
probably swallowed toxic fumes, you know,
in post.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that didn't happen. I thought I was lying when I said that our trains are derailing.
He went back on a holiday and became radicalized.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
He studied political science at blah, 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 blah. Okay. Mm-hmm. In addition to his journalism analysis and commentary, he has engaged in political activism. He is a youth organizer for the International Action Center.
It's a really old bio, by the way. I haven't worked with the International Action Center since 2015. So this is not a current bio by any means.
By the way, this gets so much worse.
Okay.
And is involved in the Occupy Wall Street movement from its planning stages in August 2011. He has worked against police brutality, mass incarceration, and imperialist war. He works to promote revolutionary ideology and to support all that fight against the global system of monopoly, capitalist imperialism. And by the way, he is a very key voice in RT for analysis for escalation in Ukraine from Russia.
No, for de-escalation in Ukraine. We want to end this conflict. I actually, with the Center for Political Innovation, was one of the sponsors of the Rage Against the War Machine rally. I've been calling for negotiations.
Russia, by the way. Right. So he's anti-imperialism.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm anti-Western capitalist imperialism. And I support the peoples of Donbass being protected from Western-backed Nazis that have been slaughtering them since 2014. I know about the people that have been killed. Like you know, it's like, keep going.
But it's okay.
But it's okay if you attack Ukraine and invade.
No, it's okay for Russia to protect people from the killing that's been going on against them since 2014. They've been facing bombardment at the hands of a U.S.-backed regime that was imposed on Ukraine. And now, after 8 years of the USA not fulfilling the Minsk agreement, Russia has moved in to protect the peoples of Donbass.
Also invade Taiwan. That's
Yes.
fine because it's China, right?
How do they invade Taiwan when Taiwan is part of China? And when did I say that? I said she was selling war. I want to de-escalate Taiwan. So, these idiots.
So continue. Let's keep looking. So do a little more digging.
What else does this guy?
Oh, if they put funny music, it changes everything.
So yeah, it turns out proof it he is just an analyst for RT.
Exactly.
I'm actually a reporter for RT. I do analysis elsewhere. For RT I do reports and reporting. But let's not quibble with the facts.
COVID-19 cases surpassed. Okay, Trump blames China for pandemic.
You like how they made him look like a rando protester on the street with this?
Yeah, because I wasn't there in any relation to my job at RT. I had nothing to do with RT. Me being there had absolutely nothing to do with RT. I was there with my friends, with Sam, with Jim, with Sage from the Center for Political Innovation. I was there with Jamie. I mean, had nothing to do with my job at RT. And I was there with a group of people because we don't want a new war. So how does you pointing out that I work at RT in any way discredit what I said? It doesn't.
Yeah, and here he is in his presenter form, in his uniform, wearing a suit and tie. But actually, they were like, look at this random protester. Like,
they didn't say that. When did they say, look at this random protester? I was there representing the Center for Political Innovation with 5 of my friends. What in the world is wrong with this? It's like
you say the true voice of America.
Right?
True voice of America is a
yeah, and Funky Lollipop was there as well. Funky was there. Absolutely. Don't want to forget anybody.
The Russian paid.
And Irving was there as well.
Analyst
for Russia Today.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a job. Yes, Yes. Does the job of anyone at any protest discredit anything they say?
True voice of the Russian and Chinese people.
Yes, and by the way,
government. I should say,
how
not the
delicious
people.
is this cooperation we've been talking about?
Yeah,
China and Russia have literally they've crawled in bed together.
No, they haven't, because me going there had absolutely nothing to do with my job at RT. I was there with my friends from the Center for Political Innovation. Where are they getting this? Like, do they think RT called me up and said, Caleb, go to this demonstration and pretend to be a normal protesters? Like, what are they talking about?
Snuggled up and fallen asleep.
Yeah.
They are now a couple.
Yes.
They literally are hand in hand.
They have kids.
What in the world does this have to do with my job at RT? It has absolutely nothing to do with my job at RT.
They have children together, right? Not only that, but they are also currently, right now, cooperating on propaganda.
No, they're not cooperating in any conceivable way. I work with RT, and I'm involved with the Center for Political Innovation. Like, what in the world is and I was protesting long before I ever appeared on RT. I was protesting. I was part of Occupy Wall Street. I was arrested. Like, where do these people get it from?
American soil.
Yep.
Which is wild, dude.
Like, you're making all kinds of leaps and assumptions, If I get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom, is that because RT made me do it?
Yeah.
2 countries that want the death of America are cooperating on American soil.
Why they don't want the death of America? They want to invest in the United States. They want to do business with America. That's why the USA is always putting sanctions on them and making it harder for them. Why do they want the death of America?
Soil.
Yeah, against the whole Tsai Ing-wen visit.
And staging protests to say, look at the voice of the American people, and it's
the American people overwhelmingly don't want a new war. Like, what is he getting at?
In Russia Today analyst. Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah.
So he's also part of this other organization, right?
Okay.
Which is Center for Political Innovation.
Those guys.
Yeah, that's where I was there representing. Got it. Nothing to do with my job at RT. Nothing to do with RT.
Again.
Yeah, do you remember? Doesn't it look all like legit and above?
Oh, yeah. Doesn't that sound great? Center for Political Innovation.
And why are we not legit? Like, why are we not legit? We have members, we have a website, we have conferences, we have events. Why are we not legit just because we're pro-Russia and pro-China, because we're anti-imperialist? Why does that make us not legit?
Innovation?
Let's innovate. Let's see what their innovation looks like. Let's see one of their meetings.
Okay, yeah. Let's take a look at one of their meetings, shall we?
Sure. Let's have a little look.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And?
That's
And
not
your
very
point?
innovative, if you ask me. That's very derivative and just rubbish. I mean,
what am I even looking
it's
at?
literally just...
This is in Chicago, by the way. So
a bunch of LARPing.
No, I mean, what is wrong with this? We're holding flags. You know, like this is like dumb. Like, oh, we're holding flags. You know, you know, you know. Oh, goodness gracious. Hold on. Okay. Is this actually what it appears to be, or is this a spam? Yeah, man, the spam bots are getting better each day. They really are. This was a good spam. That was a good spam. They almost got me there. Goodness gracious. They're getting better. They are really getting better. Oh, goodness gracious. Just let me check something. All right. Yeah, I'm going to report this person. That's a pretty unbelievable thing to put in a chat. Team YouTube. So I actually, that was pretty clever. I will give credit to whoever just spammed my chat with that. That was a really clever spam. They made me think that I had a strike against me. I do not have a strike, and they were trying to get me to shut down. That was really clever. I had to go check. Yeah, that's a good spam. Isn't it amazing how desperate they are to come after us? But yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I mean,
communist Marxist students.
I love their hats.
Yeah, of course. And you know they've got Che Guevara t-shirts somewhere. They just didn't wear them today.
Why would we have Che Guevara t-shirts? Why? Do you think this is what your typical like leftist students do? You're like, you know, your typical campus person, your typical like, you know, trans obsessed woke leftist. That's what they do. They support China and Russia. Are they that stupid? Are they really that stupid?
Yeah.
I got a thing against these types of people, to be honest.
You have no idea who we are, dude. You have no clue who we are. You have a thing against woke kids on the internet, all of whom hate China and agree with you, you fucking idiot.
So look at this. We have a Russia imperialist flag.
Yes.
No, that's the flag of the Donetsk People's Republic, you dumbass. It's not the Russia imperial flag. That's the eagle, and that's the Donetsk People's Republic. That's the flag of the people in the eastern regions who have been bombed and attacked. That's the flag of the independent country, the government they created by breaking away.
We have a China flag.
Yes.
Okay.
We have an American flag. This is in America.
Yeah, are you against that too? Are you against the American flag?
And then we have a communist flag. You can see the hammer and sickle on that one up there.
And we have a Z. We have a hand-painted Z, guys.
So this guy who's in this organization, who is a Russian Today analyst for Russian state media, is the true...
Yes, how shocking is it that somebody who works in anti-imperialist media might be sympathetic to Russia and China and might also be involved in other organizations that want to create peace and international friendship and cooperation?
The voice of the American people.
Actually, and yes, everything I said in that clip was the truth of what the American people want. Everything in the clip, everything I said, that the American people don't want new wars. That's true. That the American people want spending on infrastructure, not military spending. That's true, according to all the polls. You don't even know what the flags are that we're holding. You don't even know what these flags are, you dumbass.
Yeah, so I just wanted to go to the true voice of American people because I figured I'd do a little more deep dive and see what the American people think.
Okay.
In terms of
This is great. This is really, really great. This is classic how deceptive they are.
polls, right? Gallup polls are very accurate. have a look. Well, he spoke the true voice of the American people, right?
Yeah, but I didn't say view China favorably. I said we don't want a new war. So you totally misrepresented it. You totally misrepresented it. Everything I said was the voice of the American people. Yes, because we have assholes like you on TV pounding anti-China propaganda into the American minds. Yes, people are going to think negative things about the Chinese government, but that doesn't mean they want a new war. That doesn't mean they want Americans to get shot to defend an island that belongs to China from China. You know, dude, like you're just completely moving the goalpost.
Let's have a look. Record low.
No, that has nothing to do with what I said.
15% of Americans view China favorably.
That's not what I said.
Favorably. That was last month.
Yeah.
And that's not what I was there saying. My sign said money for jobs and infrastructure. Tsai Ing-wen is selling war. That's what my sign said. So you're completely moving the goalpost, you lying dumbass.
As a modern poll from Gallup, 15% of Americans view China favorably. So
and what is your point? Does that mean that they want a war? No, all the polls show that Americans don't want war.
I'm gonna say, statistically, Hua Chunying, you have misspoke. You're wrong.
No, she's not wrong, because everything I said is majority opinion in the United States.
You should probably apologize for
No. She should not apologize. Twitter should apologize for rigging the algorithms to keep Americans from seeing what I said.
Information and disinfo.
Yeah.
Because it's actually the truth that the American people don't want new wars. They do want money for trains and infrastructure and hospitals and schools. They just keep lying. They just keep lying all through this video.
And someone should do something about that Twitter post, because that's empirically wrong.
Something should be done.
No, it's not, because what I'm saying is public opinion in the United States.
Done about these guys that are agents for foreign governments like that.
Because we want money for jobs and not war, we're agents. Like let me put on the screen what I said at the protest. Let's look at what was said on the protest. They think this makes you a foreign agent. Let me just put on the screen. What did we say? What did it say on our banner? What did it actually say on our banner? What did it say? What did it say?
People want.
It says, money for jobs and infrastructure in America, no more weapons to Taiwan. That is one of the most patriotic things anyone could say. There's nothing more unpatriotic than wanting Americans to go get their heads shot off so that, computer manufacturing companies and Apple and cell phone companies can beat down their competitor. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's claiming that I am unpatriotic, that I'm a foreign agent. I am saying I love America, money for jobs and infrastructure in America. No more weapons to Taiwan. There's nothing remotely un-American or foreign agent about what I'm saying. I'm saying what anyone who really loves this country would say. That's what I'm saying. So there you go. If this makes you a foreign agent, you're just not allowed to question war. You're not allowed to question U.S. foreign policy. This is public opinion. This is public opinion in the United States right now. I said, what is the majority sentiment? I said, Tsai Ing-wen is selling war. No more tax money for weapons to Taiwan. Money for jobs and infrastructure in America. No more weapons to Taiwan. This is a statement of utter patriotism and love for one's country. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And these guys, they get on there and they say, oh, he works at RT, so therefore, what does that have to do with anything? I wasn't there as an RT reporter. I've been protesting for years, and they read my bio about how I was working with the International Action Center. I was part of Occupy Wall Street. So what does me being on RT have anything to do with this? Like, they are depending. The only people that will watch that video and be influenced by it are people that already are seething with hate, people that have already been brainwashed and like, oh, anything attached to Russia is evil. Anything attached to China is evil. And so they'll see that and go, oh, Caleb attached to Russia, Caleb attached to China, Caleb evil. But it's like, most people don't think that way. Most people haven't been conditioned. All they're doing, they're not making any arguments. They're just appealing to people's bias. and just baiting people on associations. This is cancel culture, right? It's just classic cancel culture. And the right wing invented cancel culture. Before there was leftist cancel culture, there was right wing cancel culture. It started with Fox. They went after college professors and other people, David Horowitz, and they would make you famous on Fox News. Some math teacher would say in a class to his students that he was against the war in Iraq, and that the USA was engaging in terrorism in Iraq, and then it would be on the front of Fox the next day, math teacher says America is terrorist, student with military parent offended, and they would do a Fox story, right? They invented cancel culture. The left started doing it later when they got the whole social justice thing and they used social media. That's all this is, because there's no argument here against anything I've said. It's that I'm a bad person because I don't agree with the mainstream perspective. That's all they've got. That's the only argument they had the whole time there. He works at RT. No shit. He supports peace and cooperation with China. No shit. It's none of that. They did not present a single argument against any of those things. All they did was just bait, right? And that's how these people are, right? They just appeal to the popular bias. So I wanted to show you all that. I had fun with that. So there's a couple other critics of our program here. Right. So I don't know if you all remember when the Rage Against the War Machine protest happened in Washington, D.C. I mean, it was just a tremendous demonstration. That's the Center for Political Innovation. We were official sponsors of that rally. Elizabeth Young spoke at the closing rally at the White House. That's our president. We had a reception with Scott Ritter that was very well attended. 160 people were there at the reception nearby the White House. And it was really, really great what CPI did that weekend. We really did something tremendous. Rage Against the War Machine was awesome. And it was the biggest anti-war protest in Washington, D.C. in 20 years. Not since the beginning of the Iraq War have there been that many people protesting against war in Washington, D.C., right? And it was a great demonstration. About 13,000 people gathered in Washington, D.C. Rage Against the War Machine, really great. CPI were a sponsor of it. Now, one of the people who insisted that it was wrong for CPI or anybody else to ever support this rally was a clown, an utter clown named Melinda Butterfield. Melinda Butterfield, an utter clown, wrote an article declaring that, oh no, you can't support the Rage Against the War Machine rally. It's racist. Anyone who goes to it's a big fat racist. Cynthia McKinney, she's a racist. Garland Nixon, he's a racist. And this is what, just so everyone knows, this is, we're going to put on the screen. We're going to put on the screen here what Melinda Butterfield said about the Rage Against the War Machine rally, because I have some other great hits from Melinda Butterfield here, right? But this is what Melinda Butterfield wrote about the rally, about the Rage Against the War Machine rally. Just as a reminder, this is what was written. Hold on. Technological difficulties. Just figuring out how to open the right things. Here we go. All right. Melinda 3. All right. Here we go. This is what Melinda Butterfield wrote to explain the Rage Against the War Machine rally. This was her brilliant argument against the Rage Against the War Machine protest. Right? Its true purpose is to strengthen the grip of the openly fascist white supremacist movement in the USA based on anti-trans panic, hatred of migrants and refugees, censorship of Black and LGBTQ plus history, and robbing women of their right to abortion. That's what Melinda Butterfield said. Melinda Butterfield said that the actual purpose of the rally, that this rally that we had that had Chris Hedges and Cynthia McKinney, Max Blumenthal, Anya Parampil, Tara Reid. No. The whole purpose of the rally, its true purpose, is to strengthen the grip of the openly fascist white supremacist movement. Even though this rally was multiracial, even though this rally had Dennis Kucinich at it, even though this rally was pro peace and development around the world. No. Everyone there was in the Ku Klux Klan. It was just a big white supremacist gathering. That's what Melinda Butterfield said, right? And that's how smart Melinda Butterfield is, right? But I got to show you, it gets better. It gets so much better. So Melinda Butterfield has continued writing articles with brilliant analysis. And this kind of shows you how crazy Melinda Butterfield is. But Melinda Butterfield is not the only person who thinks this way. If she was the only person who thought this way, it wouldn't be worth talking about this. But we really need to talk about this because this other article that Melinda Butterfield wrote really gets to the essence of how crazy these people are, right? How just out of touch with reality these kinds of people are, right? And why they are a cancer. All right. So this is I'll show you the headline of the article, and then I'll show you how the article begins. So Melinda Butterfield wrote this article. This is a new article from Melinda Butterfield, right? This is what it is. The Trans Day of Vengeance. Fight back against far-right attacks. The Trans Day of Vengeance. Right? Pumping this rally of trans people around the country. The Trans Day of Vengeance. That's the headline. Now you've seen that. This is how the article begins. And I want you to see this. I can't believe people can be this stupid. But they can. They can be this stupid, and it's dangerous that people are this stupid. This is what Melinda wrote. I have a book coming out soon, The U.S. Proxy War in Ukraine and Donbass. If anti-war activists in Nashville, Tennessee invited me to come to do a book reading, I would be at risk of arrest. Not for the contents of the book, but as a trans person speaking and existing in public. On March 2nd, Tennessee became the first state to ban drag performances. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is the stupidest thing. Melinda Butterfield, if you're watching, do you really believe that if you went to Tennessee to give a speech about Ukraine and Russia, the police would show up and say, all right, we got ourselves a trans. You're under arrest for being trans in public. Are you kidding me? They're outlawing drag queen story hours for children, you fucking idiot. Oh my God. I would be at risk of arrest. Not for the contents of the book, but just for being trans. Tennessee became the first state in the country to ban drag performances, and at least 14 other state legislatures have laws. The laws are cobbled together with numerous amendments to withstand legal challenges on free speech, claiming it would ban only adult-oriented performances where minors could be exposed. Oh my God. Of course they're banning that. You have to be 18 to go into a strip club. You have to be 18 to go into a porn shop. Oh my God. Oh my God. How can people be this dumb? It's like the right wing has said they don't want kids to go to Drag Queen Story Hour. Whatever. I don't have kids. I doubt I would take kids to Drag Queen Story Hour, but that's between the kids and their parents. But how do you get from that you can't go to Tennessee and give a talk about Ukraine and Russia because you're trans? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Are you going to do a striptease for these people? Like, can you give a speech about Ukraine without taking your clothes off? Can you give a speech about Ukraine without doing a striptease dance? Like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever read. But it gets better. What's the name of Melinda Butterfield's new book? What is the name of it? U.S. Proxy War in Ukraine and Donbass. Melinda, hate to break it to you, but got a feeling that in the Donetsk People's Republic and in the People's Republic of Luhansk, probably not huge fans of Drag Queen Story Hour either. Not sure of that. I mean, who knows? Never know. But got a feeling, Melinda, that Drag Queen Story Hour with children is probably not legal probably not legal in Donbass either. And Melinda, have you ever noticed that all the people on the internet who are obsessed with the trans issue all hate Russia? Have you noticed that all the people who are obsessed with Drag Queen Story Hour are the people who want to bomb and destroy Russia and want to send more weapons to Ukraine? How are people this stupid? How are these people this stupid? This is a psyop. This is a conscious psychological operation to keep anti-imperialism attached to wokeness. Because right now, average Americans don't want these wars. Average Americans don't want the police state. They don't want the tech censorship. Average Americans are pouring out into the streets, and people like Melinda Butterfield, it is their job to say stupid shit like this. It is not illegal to be trans in Tennessee, you fucking idiot. It's not illegal to be trans in Tennessee. It's not illegal for an adult trans person to talk about Ukraine in Tennessee, you fucking idiot, you liar. Right? This is hate. This is ethnic bigotry and hate. Right? This is, Melinda lives in New York City. She works at a law firm. And what she wants, she thinks that all the people in Tennessee are all just bloodthirsty rednecks sharpening their knives. I want to kill me a trans and a Jew today. This is ethnic hatred. That's all this is. This is racism and ethnic bigotry, right? And it's designed to help the imperialists, because right now the imperialists are trying to grind this country into poverty. Right now the imperialists are trying to impoverish the red states, to grind people into poverty. Look what's happening with the train derailments in Ohio. And according to Melinda, they all deserve it, right? Because all they do, apparently it's illegal to be trans in Tennessee. It's not illegal to be trans in Tennessee, you liar. It's not illegal to be trans in Tennessee, you idiot. They're banning Drag Queen Story Hour because they have an issue with children who are not legal adults going to erotically oriented performances. That's what they have an issue with. Oh my God. Oh my God. How can people lie like this? How can people lie this badly? Right? And it's this kind of mindset. Every Trump supporter wants to murder Melinda. Every Trump supporter is plotting to assassinate Melinda. And it's like this level of dumb. And then she's going to go and promote a book about Donbass. Do you think they have gay marriage in Donbass, Melinda? Do you think they have trans participation day or whatever they call it in Donbass, Melinda? Like, this is the most ridiculous lie, right? It's unbelievable to me. And this is how they manipulate people. If you tell people, oh, everyone wants to murder you, everyone wants to kill you, that's a way to get us to support the Democrats. The Democrats want World War III. The Democrats want to censor the internet and silence dissident voices. The Democrats want to send the FBI to drag anti-imperialist people like the Uhuru movement away in the middle of the night. They're about to pass the Restrict Act, which would take away your right to privacy, would let the government, seize your assets and fine you for using a VPN. But we have to support it because all Republicans want to murder Melinda. It would be illegal for Melinda to speak in Tennessee. No, it wouldn't. That's a lie. That's just a lie. It's just a lie, right? And she thinks all the people at the Rage Against the War Machine rally, Cynthia McKinney and all the great progressive people there, Jimmy Dore, Tara Reid, all of them are just bloodthirsty Ku Klux Klan members. She believes that everyone in Tennessee is trying to murder trans people. It's illegal to exist as a trans person in Tennessee. No, it's not. And it's this kind of crazy liberal alarmism that leads to people being so manipulated and so delusional that they support the Democrats, right? And it's really frustrating. I've missed a few super chats. I'm going to go back. All right. All right. I'm going to scroll up because I've missed a few other super chats, but it's just really frustrating to me to see this. I mean, this is what woke mind cancer is. Someone who lives in North Carolina, whose family lives in Tennessee. I can say that Melinda is outright lying about the South. Thank you. Thank you, Mariah. I mean, that is ethnic bigotry. That is hate. That's all that is, right? It's not illegal to be trans in Tennessee. And like the victimhood, and the Rage Against the War Machine, they didn't make trans the central issue. I didn't see drag shows now at the front of their rally. They must be in the Ku Klux Klan. Shut up. Oh, God. I mean, it's the selfishness of these people and the unbelievable selfishness of these people. Don't forget that disgusting article about Rage Against the Machine by Joaquin Lockman, latte leftist, for actually doing something in real life. Scrolling up. See if I missed any other super chats. I don't think I missed any other ones. Maybe I did. Maybe I did miss a couple other ones. Keep it going. I'm going to get to something positive here soon, but I mean, I just showed you two sides of the same coin. Neocon warmongers who hate China, and a woke shithead who thinks that all working class people are bloodthirsty transphobes and the whole state of Tennessee wants to murder all trans people. I mean, it's just like the level of idiocy and dishonesty from these types is really overwhelming. But I'm going to get to something positive next. I just need to scroll up and make sure I didn't. Oh, here we go. And it was this type of arrogance will be the downfall of America. All right. This type of arrogance will be the downfall of America. All righty. And let's see, did I miss any others? Was there one more super chat? I just want to make sure I get all the super chats, right? Because that's how the way this works here is if you give a super chat, you will get an answer. Oh, yes. Rossi, why is it when I discuss China with expats, they usually have nothing good to say about their system? Okay. All righty. Very good. All right. We're caught up on super chat. Sorry it took me a while. I was just showing things on the screen and one thing led to another thing. But yeah, I just had to get that out of my system. I've been sitting on those two for a while. So we had fun with the anti-China website that was bashing me. And then we had fun with Melinda Butterfield and who I mean, and it's like the logic there, right? If we're supposed to hate anyone from Tennessee and we can't march against a war with Republicans, why would you support Donbass? Because they ain't really into the trans thing in Donbass, Melinda. I'll just tell you that much. Anyway, we're going to talk about something positive now. We're going to talk about something positive because, I like to play communist music and stuff on these streams. And, I have different communist music I've been listening to for a long time. I really like the music from the Progressive Labor Party, their song They Shall Rule the Earth. I really like Cornelius Cardew, as all of you are aware. But in this book, right, my new book, Where is America Going? I talk about the new communist movement. And I talk about the Revolutionary Communist Party and the new communist movement, the Maoist groups of the 1970s. The Maoist communists of the 1970s, the Revolutionary Communist Party, they did something really, really special. We really need to study them because, when we say out of the movement to the masses, really the last time anybody did that was in the 1970s with the new communist movement. In the new communist movement of the 1970s, people did that. There was an effort to break with the counterculture and get to average Americans with an anti-war message. And there were various. There was the Revolutionary Communist Party, the Communist Workers' Party, the Communist Labor Party. There was mild success. The U.S. economy was still very strong. Labor aristocracy was still a thing. But they were still doing what you're supposed to do, which is get to the masses, not be building a counterculture hippie thing, but actually get to the masses. The Revolutionary Communist Party in 1976, it was the bicentennial. And they had a really big pro-communist rally in Philadelphia to counter the bicentennial celebrations. I'll show you some pictures of it. There's a very famous photo from that rally that I will show you right now. This is a really famous rally from photo from a rally by the Revolutionary Communist Party, right? And it says, "We won't fight another rich man's war." This is what a real anti-war movement looks like. Those are veterans, black, white, Vietnam vets with a banner. "We won't fight another rich man's war." This was a real anti-war, anti-imperialist rally on July 4th, 1976, to counter the bicentennial when Carter was president. Let me show you another, it's just some of the images from the rally, because it was a big deal. That rally was a particularly big deal because they were going to average Americans with a communist message, right? And it was pretty neat. This was the poster they made to promote the rally. And the slogan of their rally was, well, I'll get to that in a second, but I guess you'll see it in the poster, right? The slogan that they made for their rally was this: "We've carried the rich for 200 years. Now let's get them off our backs. Jobs or income now. We won't fight another rich man's war. Demonstrate July 4th. And it was like a big initiative. 5,000 people marched at this pro-communist, Maoist communist rally in Philadelphia, saying, "We've carried the rich for 200 years. Now get them off our backs." It was very, very cool. I'll show you some other pictures here. Why not? All right. Show you some other pictures. This is like someone marching with a picture to promote the rally. So there we go. All right. So, they did a whole campaign around the country to get people to come to Philadelphia. "We've carried the rich for 200 years. Now let's dump them off our backs." It was a great mobilization. Yeah, it was pretty great. And, when we talk about out of the movement to the masses, right, we should really pay attention to this period, right? And I talk in the book, I have a whole thing about the Boston trap and how the RCP made the mistake of supporting the racist anti-busing riots. But I talk about a lot of different things. But anyway, I guess what I'm getting to is that the Revolutionary Communist Party in the 1970s, they had a rock band that they made to promote their music or to promote their organization. And I've been listening to some of the songs from the rock band that they had to promote their organization. And one of the songs I thought was really cool. And it's called New China. And it's basically the guy who wrote the song went on a delegation to visit China with the Revolutionary Communist Party. And he was inspired by what he saw. So he wrote this song about it. I will show you on the screen here. I'll show you. He references, a banner that you see that's on the border between Hong Kong and mainland China. And this is the banner. He references it in the song. So I just figured before I play the song, I'll show you the banner. This is what the banner says. It says, "Long live the great unity of the people of the world," in English and Chinese. "Long live the great unity of the people of the world." And this guy, who was a Revolutionary Communist Party member, I don't know what his name was, he wrote this rock song, this song about what it was like to visit China. And the song kind of hit home for me because I haven't been to, China in the 1970s, but I have been to socialist countries before. And so it kind of struck a chord with me. It's about 7 minutes, but it's good music, and I'm going to put it on here. Here you go. New China.
Got to the border, we began to walk on the two flags flying over the bridge we were to cross. One was the bloody British rag of imperialism, casting its shadow over poverty, starvation, vicious exploitation in Hong Kong. The other was the flaming red flag of revolution and socialism, telling us all, the people of the world, the time has come to come along. This ain't just any old border that we are standing on. It stands between two systems, one diet, one young and strong. And then we crossed that bridge into China, saw a great banner up ahead. Its meaning set my heart a pounding, and this is what that banner is. Long live the great unity of the peoples of the world. Long live the great unity of the peoples of the world. Went to a steel mill, saw people working hard, but there were no bosses. The workers ran the job. They worked 10 hours, 6 days a week, on great machines built by their own hand. They labor not for some rich man's profits, but to meet the needs of people of the land. And they are building with such a spirit of revolution and socialism, for they are masters of their own future. The working class is in command. Talked with an older worker. He said many worries are gone. If one is sick or injured, they are provided for. We have no fear of rising prices, no unemployment will you find. There's always more to be done to build China, not just for us but to free mankind. Long live the People's Republic, long live working class rule. Long live the People's Republic, long live working class rule. We arrived in Shanghai, where before it was free, dope and prostitution and starving people filled the streets. And now these people stand up united, providing for the needs of all. Decent housing, health care, education, they decide now they are the law. And man, I felt so damn proud of China, of revolution and socialism. Just look at what our class has accomplished. Just look at what the struggle has won. We talked with men and women, now working side by side, about our many struggles for freedom so long denied. They said, comrades, China is with you. This is your country as well as ours. The struggles of the people united will be triumphant. We have the power. Long live the great unity, of the peoples of the world. Long live the great unity of the peoples of the world. You know, I missed my family, wish they were there with me. I knew they're back home struggling to change society. And I admit I hated to leave China. You know that freedom kinda grows on you. But now I feel such deep determination to do the job we all have to do. Remember, people, our day is coming. Make revolution, build socialism, to do away with class exploitation, to end oppression once and for all. And I have learned a lesson that I will always heed. The fight to end oppression, the working class must lead. But we will build us up a great movement to sweep away the system we're in. And nothing gonna stop us from doing it. We will fight and we will win. Long live the people's republic. Long live working class rule. Long live the people's republic. Long live working class rule.
So there you go. Yeah, that's quite a song. And I just discovered that song today, and I thought I had to share it with all of you. That's a pretty good song. And I'll put the banner they're talking about up on the screen. I'll put another one. There's different banners like that. Here, let me get the other one. But you know, yeah, that was something else, you know. And having been to socialist countries, I've been to Nicaragua, I've been to Venezuela, you know, have gone to global communist gatherings. I know the feeling that they're describing, and I really hope that all of you will get that feeling someday too, to know that you're part of a global movement. It's a really special kind of feeling. But yeah, long live the great unity of the people of the world. You know, long live the great unity of the people of the world. That was a really great song, and I really liked it. So I thought it was worth sharing all of that with you. But I actually wanted to point out, you know, I just heard this song today, but the slogan that they keep repeating throughout the slogan, long live the great unity of the people of the world. You know, that slogan reminds me of the CPI Pledge of Unity. Honestly, right? The CPI Pledge of Unity is very similar in its content. You know, and I don't think people realize what the CPI Pledge of Unity is, but every Saturday we have a Zoom call, a Zoom meeting of the Center for Political Innovation. And at that meeting, we go over, we do the Pledge of Unity. And it comes from the World Democratic Youth Federation, their pledge from the end of the Second World War. And we do that pledge every Saturday at our Zoom meetings, and we begin our public conferences with that. And some people, you know, there's been some people who don't like the Pledge of Unity. I don't understand, but the people who really get what our organization is about, they like the Pledge of Unity. You know, they like it and they get it. So I think I might show the Pledge of Unity on here, right? I might do that. I think I will. Yeah, I'm going to show the Pledge of Unity here. I have to wait for the video to download. But, you know, because, you know, the Pledge of Unity, it doesn't have the words long live the great unity of the people of the world, but it's all about building the unity of the people of the world. That's like what the Pledge of Unity is really about. So I guess I'm just going to end my opening remarks by showing, because, you know, in that song they kept repeating, long live the great unity of the people of the world, you know, and how this kind of, you know, real internationalism is just such an important part of what it means to be a communist, especially in our time, you know, where the danger of a new world war is hanging over our heads, and they're trying to tell us to hate Russia and China and hate different countries. And it's really, really important. So I think I'm gonna show the Pledge of Unity in the opening ceremony from our last conference. I think we're gonna show that here just so you can see it. Because look, some people just don't get it, right? And for those people who don't get it, we don't need you. You're not the kind of person we're trying to recruit if you don't get it, right? There's some people who get it and there are some people who don't. But what we do at the Center for Political Innovation is what they do in China, and it's what they do in Nicaragua and Venezuela, and it's what they do in the Donetsk People's Republic. We are building a real revolutionary movement. And yes, that includes rituals and pledges and uniforms and flags. And if you don't like that, we're not for you, right? But some people get it. People who felt inspired by that song I just played are the kind of people that'll understand why we open our conferences the way we do. So I think we'll
dare your struggle. Dare your struggle. Dare your struggle. Dare your struggle. Yes. First up, we would like everybody to stand for the Center for Political Innovation Pledge of Unity and remain standing afterwards for the flag ceremony. We do the pledge at the start of every gathering. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. We pledge that we shall remember this unity. Forged at the end of the Second World War. Not only today. Not only this week. This year, but always. Until we have built the world. We have dreamed of and fought for. We pledge ourselves to build. The unity of the people of the world. All races, all colors. All nationalities, all beliefs. To eliminate all traces of fascism from the earth. To build a deep and sincere international friendship. Among the peoples of the world. To keep a just, lasting peace. To eliminate want, frustration. And enforced idleness. We have come to confirm the unity of all people. To salute our comrades who have died. And pledge our word that skillful hands, keen brains, and bold enthusiasm shall never more be wasted in war. Please remain standing for the flag ceremony. CPI, CPI, CPI. To the masses! To the masses! To the masses! To the masses! Dare to win! 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 Dare to win!
All right. Long live the great unity of the people of the world. We are keeping the communist spirit and the communist tradition alive at the Center for Political Innovation. We may have updated it some. We may have adjusted and modernized it a bit, but we are very much keeping the flame of internationalism and anti-imperialism alive. So welcome, everybody. So glad you're here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell, and let's now do the roll call. I will call you all out as I see you. Names and locations. Names and locations. Who is with us tonight? Names and locations. Who's with us? Names and locations. Who's with us tonight? Who is with us? I will call you out as I see you. Names and locations. All right, we got Ryan in Oakland, Richard Valen Anderson in Richmond, Virginia, Dylan Digby in Toledo, Ohio, Timoshenko in St. Louis, JT24 in Mississippi, Maddie in California, Joe in Los Angeles, Jim in Harrisburg, Juan in Quito, Mike in North Carolina, Jonathan in Los Angeles, Balthazar in Oakland, Jenny in Cincinnati, Chester in England, Southern California, Alex in Brazil, Temple City, California, Chris in Salt Lake City, Colin in Greensboro, Roma from Giovanni from Roma, Patch in Arizona, West Virginia, Redneck Red, Rice from Adelaide, Australia, UP of Michigan, Bob Troy in New York, Moonlight Beach, California. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Burns in Alabama, Zephyr out in Eugene, Oregon. We got John McCarthy in Chicago. Shout out to you, John. Great solidarity work with Uhuru. Cleveland Pirate Alex, Anthony in Texas, Zach in Seattle. We got Donna and Chris in Brooklyn. Welcome, Donna and Chris. Jonathan Mahari in Stockholm, Sweden. Auckland, New Zealand. Brendan again in Northern California, Palo Alto. Heidi in Edinburgh, Scotland. Very, very good names and locations. Mariah in North Carolina. Christian in the Ramapo Mountains of Bergen County. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome, 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 folks. So glad to have you all here. Mariah says, peace be with you. And peace be with you as well, Mariah. Peace be with you. All righty. All righty. So on that note, I'm going to start answering people's super chat questions. Okay. All righty. I will answer people's super chat questions. If people have more super chat questions they'd like to ask me, feel free to send them on in. Here's a good one. Now, this is an important one, and it's a good one. Human labor creates all wealth, but what about automation? Well, automation, when it really gets down to it, increases the strength of human labor. However, it is only human labor that creates the value. And this is the important thing to take into account. It's human labor that really determines how valuable anything can be, right? We talk about how the surplus value that a capitalist is able to extract comes from the labor of human beings. He can't extract surplus value from machines. And the value of any product isn't based on how much machine is involved. It's about how much human labor is expended. And when machines expand, the amount of human labor that goes into products decreases. And so the product becomes cheaper. It's human labor and nature that is the source of all wealth. And that's what Karl Marx points out. We got Kieran from San Diego. And when You reduce the role of the human being at the assembly line. This, therefore, reduces the amount of value the capitalist can make off of each product he produces, right? He cannot extract surplus value from the machine. And that is the point. That is the point, that machines by themselves don't create value. It's the human interacting with the machine. The machine makes the human labor that the human does. It expands its power, right? It makes the human labor, it gives it more and more power, right? It makes it so the human can do more and more with their labor. With the little bit of human labor that is necessary to extend, it can do so much more because the machine exists. But the machine, at the end of the day, can't completely replace human labor. And Nelson Peary talks about that. In my book, I have a quote from Nelson Peary about this. In chapter 1 of my book, I talk all about the tendency of the falling rate of profit. And this is what Nelson Peary, I quote Nelson Peary. This is on page 14 of my book. The robots demand that their production be given away because there is no value in production. What makes revolution absolutely inevitable is that we have a society based upon the creation of value and production that is increasingly more valueless. What is value? Value is the exchange relationship between things. The cup is worth so many tape recorders, or this pair of shoes is worth so many marbles. It is the relationship between things. Thus, if one robot is producing cups and another robot is producing tape recorders, how do you equate them? If a human being makes a cup or a human being makes a tape recorder, you can equate their relationship by how much labor time went into making the cup or making the tape recorder. You can establish how many cups are worth how many tape recorders. But if a robot makes them, how do you then establish a value relationship between them? I don't think you can. Robots can make cars, but they cannot buy them. Since production is increasingly carried on without human labor, without creating value, such production cannot be distributed with money. Money expresses value. Expended labor time is the basis of exchange. Expended labor time is the basis of exchange, and it is represented by money. If the worker doesn't work anymore and the robot creates the commodities, how is it possible then to sell them? You cannot sell them. And if you don't sell them, how are you going to distribute them? That quote from Nelson Peary, I think, thoroughly answers your question, Christian from New Jersey. But it's a good question, and it's a very important question. But basically, automation leads to a point where you have to start moving toward communism, because it's only through expended human labor that you can give value to a commodity. And if human labor is becoming less and less of a factor, then how can commodities be purchased? So there we go. Would you ever consider making a Telegram channel? That's the next super chat question. Yes, I would. If anyone knows how I can set up a Telegram channel, I'm just, I get behind on these things. I have so many different social medias. I got a Rumble, I got an Odyssey, I got a YouTube, I got a Facebook. I'm on Rockfin right now. There's a few people. There's 5 people watching, on Rockfin. There's Ratfin and Marmalade says the song reminded him of Grace Slack and singing We Can Be Together at Woodstock. So we're on Rockfin. We're going to be on Odyssey. CPI has a Telegram channel already. But yeah, an individual one for myself. I would set it up. I just don't know how. Someone has to show me how to do it. There's some good people you want to go follow. There's a Twitter account some people made called the Caleb Maupin Archive. And it's just, it's like doing great things I've done. That's pretty cool. They've got like the Green Book on there. They've got some other things on there. There's people on Telegram impersonating me. Surprise, surprise. This crazy world. All righty. This person says, I can't believe I used to look at Kyle Kulinski as a socialist. We cannot win with reform. Thanks for all you do, Caleb. Well, thank you, Lewis. I do appreciate you saying that. I think I've seen you on social media. And look, we all live and learn. We all live and learn. It is a struggle. I've learned a lot. But if you want to learn things, you need to be involved in the struggle, right? If you just sit on the internet, and there's a lot of dumb people on the internet, and they're not connected to any real organizing. They don't build real events. They're not recruiting people to a real organization. They're not doing much other than sitting on the internet and gossiping about people and being cliquish. And those people don't matter at the end of the day. If they're not inserting themselves into history, if it's just kind of this passive internet entertainment, it doesn't matter. And a lot of them have kooky ideas because they're divorced from any actual real work. A lot of them are these crazy ultra Maoists, and they want to be like, they think China was good until Mao died, and then they romanticize armed communist groups like in the Philippines and places like that. They're not involved in any actual work and any actual organizing. They're not building an organization like CPI is. They're just sitting on the internet thinking that they're super revolutionary. And so, of course, the ideas they have are all going to be kooky because they're not connected to any real organizing, right? And that's the thing. When you're not connected with real organizing, your ideas are going to be kooky. But when you're doing real work, when you're building a real community, which is what this channel is all about. We may not have the biggest communist YouTube channel. That's okay because we're building a real community. That's the goal. And if you're building a real community, you're going to see things differently, and you're going to understand the need to work with different people, and you're going to frame things differently. If you're doing real outreach on the street, you're going to frame things differently. So, that's what we aim to do. We're going to do it looks like we're going to be having another recruitment workshop for the Center for Political Innovation. We're going to have like a weekend workshop, probably in June. Somewhere in the Midwest. We're working out the details now. I mean, we did so much at the end of March. At the end of March, so much happened. So we're slowing down for a little bit, but it looks like we're going to be doing some kind of workshop. But we want to start doing these workshops to teach people what CPI is all about, kind of introductory workshops for new members. We want to start doing them all around the country, and we're going to start bringing people into CPI in big numbers. We have real big plans to build a real organization pretty soon. Right now, we have a group of really dedicated people who have been tested. They have been battle tested. Elizabeth Young, our president, has been battle tested. Jeddah has been battle tested. So many people have been battle tested. It is not a dinner party being a revolutionary. It's not an easy thing. Things go wrong. People let you down. But some people are really in this and they really get it. And those people are with us and they're ready to go and build a real organization. And I think these are great people. And there's a crowd of people who just can't understand what it really means to build an organization. They sit on the internet and they gossip about people and they don't understand. They just don't get it. And just let them. Just let them. They're not going to do what we do. And of course, they see everything we do in a competitive way, right? They always want to compete. And that's one thing I don't get. Why don't we work together? Maybe we don't agree on everything, but, CPI will work with anybody. We're working with Scott Ritter, who's a Reagan Republican. We work with the Uhuru movement. That's a black separatist current. We'll work with anybody. But these people that just sit on the internet, no, I can't work with them. They're, they just sit on the internet talking about shit. And of course, they view everything in a competition. It's everyone's better than everybody else. No, we got to prove, and they don't get it. They just don't get it. And of course, they see it in a competitive way. They couldn't help us do a conference. No, they'd have to outdo us. They got to do their own conference to outdo us. It's like, why? Just do it with us or invite us to your conference. Why is everything, and of course, they're not going to do a conference because that's how they are. They're just internet people. They don't understand that the real world is so different than the internet. Wait until you see this documentary that Peter Coffin is making about our conference. It's amazing. It's going to be amazing. The work Peter is doing, I've seen clips of this documentary. It's going to be awesome. You're going to see how beautiful it is to really build an organization. It's going to be beautiful. Wait until you see it. Wait until you see it. All righty. The person says, they're trying to apply Soviet textbooks to the world that we live in. How do streamers, baristas, and the gig economy fit into it? Pretty easily, right? If you are a barista, you are creating value for the restaurant. That restaurant owner, that coffee shop owner wouldn't make a profit if there wasn't anyone serving the coffee, right? By running the coffee machine, by serving the coffee to the customers, you are creating value that the employer turns into profits. Streamers, same kind of thing, right? I'm on here creating value for Google and YouTube right now, right? People are watching this. They're getting advertising revenue. They wouldn't be getting that revenue if it wasn't for me. So my labor is being exploited by YouTube. And the gig economy is the same way. It's a little bit different in that you may not have regular hours. You're able to work when you feel like it. Baristas certainly have regular hours, but it's still the same shit. It's still the same shit. Value is being created, and you're not getting the full value. The value is going to the capitalist. The capitalist directs the means of production based on his own profits. Your ability to stream or be hired or whatever is based on the needs of the capitalist and their ability to facilitate it. It's all the same stuff: wage, labor, and capital, surplus value. That's all there. All right. Did you see Trump's recent interview with Tucker Carlson? I did not see Trump's recent interview with Tucker Carlson. I didn't see it. So there you go. This person wrote an awful article comparing Rage Against the War Machine to latte leftists for actually doing something in real life. Yeah, it's weird. You can't win with these people. Look, the Answer rally that happened, right? Not only was it way smaller than Rage Against the War Machine, but the message, what was the message of the rally, right? At Rage Against the War Machine, you had various people getting up and saying that it's not in the interest of America to have a fight with Russia and China. We need to spend the money here. We're losing our freedoms. These wars are bad for the country. There was a clear message. That was different coming from different people, but it was pretty clear. It was against the police state, against the wars, economic populism or libertarianism from some. It was pretty clear. What was the message of the Answer rally? America's evil. We hate this place. It's racist. And NATO's bad because America's behind NATO. So NATO's racist also. How do you spell racist? NATO. Yeah, we hate this country and we hate NATO because it's part of the country. Yeah. It's just this like expression of alienated hate. I mean, that's just all it was. You look at it, it was like some trots with weird signs about the Socialist Federation in the Middle East or some shit. And and it was just kind of like they don't like the United States. The USA is an evil, racist settler country, and NATO is part of the United States. So NATO's evil, racist settler country also. I mean, it's just like, the wokeism of the left has turned the left into just a disgusting, gross. I did not see Donetsk People's Republic flags. I did not see an understanding about Russia and China and their new economy. I just heard a desire to see more rioting and tear things down and burn things down. And I mean, most of the people that are doing the rioting and tearing things down, most of the wokes are pro-imperialism. Most of them are. So there you go. RFK Jr. Thoughts on RFK Jr.? All right. So there we go. Yeah, but they call them latte leftists. It's like you can't win, right? If you do something in real life, oh, but you're doing it racist, right? These are the same people that always insist. They always say, you don't do anything. That's like the PSL's favorite talking point. Any group they don't agree with, well, they don't do anything. It's like, no, they do something. It's just what they do, might be different than what you do. But it's like here was a group of people who actually did something, and they called them latte leftists. So all right. That's a good question there. That's a very good question. All right. And someone said this type of arrogance will be the downfall of America. Yeah, that stream that I showed, the China guys, they were just based on arrogance. That's really what we were seeing there. Now, this person asks, why is it when I discuss China with expats, they usually have nothing good to say about their system? Well, there's a couple things there. First of all, actually, in my experience with Chinese Americans, that's not universal. Now, there's kind of a sliding scale, I think, among Chinese Americans. There's some Chinese Americans like the Falun Gong that really hate China. And there's a lot of Chinese Americans who really identify with China on a cultural level. And there's a lot of Chinese Americans who really take personally a lot of the anti-China propaganda. And yes, there is a minority of Chinese Americans in America who do support the Chinese government. One thing you have to remember, though, and this is important to keep in mind. first of all, when you're talking to anyone who comes from any communist country, it is a crime to come here if you're a communist, right? When you get off the boat from any of those communist countries, if you're going through the U.S. citizenship process, one of the questions they ask you is, are you a communist? And if you say yes, you can't be here. They send you back. So any person who comes here from a communist country is going to be really nervous to say anything good about the country they came from, first of all. Second of all, you're talking to the people who left, right? You're talking to the people who left, right? I mean, if somebody really didn't like the United States and they moved to North Korea, would they be an honest assessor of the United States? I've often compared it, when there's wars, one side wins and one side loses. But there tends to be a lot of ugly, gross killing and torture and awful things on both sides. War is a really awful, evil thing. And there tends to be horrendous atrocities on both sides of wars. Do you think, and I've used this analogy many times, that if you interviewed Miss Scarlet from Gone with the Wind, I do declare, Captain Butler, them Yankees came down here to the South and took all of our slaves away. Slavery was so amazing before until Abraham Lincoln came down here. I do declare. I mean, she would give you, and she wouldn't be lying. She would just be telling you her perspective, how she sees it. From the perspective of a Southern slave owner, Abraham Lincoln was a brutal authoritarian tyrant. The U.S. Union Army was brutal and evil. All the slaves were happy before slavery. That's how they saw it. They're not lying. That's how they saw it. Obviously, there was a much bigger other perspective. The perspective of the slaves was not that they were happy all the time. The perspective of the Union Army was that slavery was awful. But that, if you go watch Gone with the Wind or Birth of a Nation, you're hearing one side of the story. But there's another side of the story. Is it true the Union Army committed atrocities during the Civil War? Yes, it is. Sherman's march to the sea was very ugly. There were definitely horrendous atrocities that were committed during that war. Were there bad things done by Lincoln and his allies during the war? Sure. And that again, when you have a big, ugly war with a lot of trauma on it, there's going to be people whose family were on one side. They're going to have their version of it. The other thing you have to remember, at the end of the day, in most wars, what side you're on is not like something people go and read books about. Right? It's not like some intellectual thing, right? It's largely, if you're from a certain area, your family's in a certain area, you're from a certain town, certain neighborhood, you're going to be on this side of the war. If you're from a certain town and you're in a certain neighborhood, you're going to be on this side of the war. And, the people who come to the United States from communist countries tend to be the ones who are on the side that lost, that was on the U.S. side. And they come to the United States and they gave their opinion. But to be fair, and on top of that, the other thing is that if they come here and start saying good things about the communist country they came from, they could be deported because they're not allowed to, they're under pressure not to talk that way, number one. Number two, if they say good things, Americans are going to look at them weird. I will never forget being on the subway. There was a woman from Romania, and I was selling a communist newspaper. And she said to me, "Oh my God, communism. I lived under communism in Romania." And I said, "But isn't it a lot worse now in Romania than it was under communism?" And she paused for a moment. And she said, yes, it is worse now. But she'd never thought of that before, because when she came to the United States from Romania, Americans all wanted to hear her tell how evil communism was and how great America was. But now Romania doesn't have communism no more. And Romania is a lot worse off. It has way more problems than it had in communism. But she'd never thought of that because that's not what Americans want to hear, right? And so when you're talking to people in the United States who fled from a communist country, you're talking to people who fled. You're talking to people on one side of a conflict who have one opinion. You're talking to people who are legally afraid to say anything good. That's another aspect. And on top of that, you're talking to people who, if they ever say anything good, are going to get weird looks, but they're going to get rewarded by their neighbors and their friends by saying the most over-the-top crazy things. Miami Cubans are the worst. Miami Cubans are the absolute worst. Miami Cubans, they say all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? They say all kinds of crazy shit, Miami Cubans. They will say anything. Miami Cubans, they'll say, oh my God, they will say anything. They have so many crazy stories about, This is my favorite. This is a story that many Miami Cubans tell. It's not true at all, and it comes from a propaganda film, a fictional propaganda film. But this is Miami Cubans always tell this story that after the revolution, all the kids were gathered in school, and the teacher said, "All right, kids, let's pray to Jesus that we can have some candy." And they prayed to Jesus, and there was no candy. And then the teacher said, "See, there is no God. But now let's pray to Fidel Castro that we have candy." And the kids prayed to Fidel Castro. And then suddenly the teacher pulls out a bag of candy and gives the candy to the kids. "See, there's no God, but communism is the answer." That's like the stupidest story ever, and it never happened. And it's from a stupid propaganda movie from the 60s. And every Miami Cuban ever says that happened to their uncle or it happened to their grandfather. "Oh, no, I know. My cousin, he was telling me how in school they told him to pray for candy. And then when they didn't get candy, and then they had to pray to Castro, and Castro gave them the candy." It's never happened. It's just a stupid trope, right? It's just a stupid story that somebody told somebody, and now it's considered historical fact. So there you go. But anyway, all right. Thoughts on RFK Jr. RFK Jr., I'm excited about his presidential run. And I'm excited to see what the Democrats do, how much the Democrats try to silence him. I don't agree with a lot of his environmental stuff. He's, an environmentalist. A lot of his environmental stuff over the years I haven't agreed with. But on the vaccine stuff, I'm very interested in what he has to say. I have his book on Dr. Fauci. And on top of that, I am also very interested in, his anti-war position and what he said about Ukraine and what he's saying about escalating with China, etc. So yeah, I'm really excited about his presidential run. And we'll have to see how much the Democrats are able to marginalize him. To some degree or other, they will. The question is, how much will they be able to marginalize him? Because he's a Kennedy, for Christ's sakes. So yeah, I'm excited about it. Now, Christian asks, is hypersexualization foundational to wokeness? I don't know if I would put it that way. What I would argue is that the bourgeois revolutions against feudalism, in particular the French Revolution, were about unleashing sexual energy. It was about libidinal release. And that libidinal release was a big aspect of leftist politics because of the French Revolutionary legacy and tradition. And that for a long time, that was associated with leftism. Even up into the 60s, that was associated with leftism. But the imperialists realized that they could market rock music. They realized that they could stage revolutions that looked like libidinal release. They did the Afghan War, where they framed it as if it was Vietnam. These poor people fighting the foreign invaders, and that they've kind of hijacked the leftist aesthetic, which is about libidinal release. And that socialist countries have moved away from that because of things like the Cultural Revolution in China, which was horrendous, stuff like, the mass executions after the Cuban Revolution, that the bad parts of socialism, the parts of socialism that are remembered as bad, tend to be associated with the drive for vengeance or cathartic revenge, punishment, rage. Those kind of feelings that it used to be leftism was associated with unleashing have now been hijacked with the imperialists. They're the ones unleashing those feelings. Their color revolutions, with social media, with cancel culture. They're the ones who have kind of the sexualized rage, the unleashing of impulses toward rage, the impulses towards sex, towards violence. The libidinal release used to be a big part of what it meant to be a leftist. Now the imperialists have hijacked that. Meanwhile, the socialist countries don't emphasize that anymore. And in fact, the socialist countries are critical of the hypersexualization in the West. That's the point I'm making. And that there's just been a shift, an aesthetic shift. And because of that, that's why people are confused. And that's why it's so confused. The Guevara aesthetics, the communist aesthetics, the red flag, the barricades and the, you know, a lot of that has been hijacked by the imperialists. Meanwhile, the socialist countries are offering stability and love and human brotherhood and compassion and kindness and stability. And, you know, they come across as quite conservative in their own way. You know, so there you go. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed the stream tonight. I'll probably be back tomorrow night, if not the next night. You know, we're going to keep doing these streams pretty regularly. So thanks, everybody. A new upsurge in the struggle against U.S. imperialism is now emerging throughout the world. Ever since World War II, U.S. imperialism and its followers have been continuously launching wars of aggression, but the people of various countries have been continuously waging revolutionary wars to defeat their aggression. While the danger of a new world war still exists and the people of all countries must get prepared, revolution is the main trend in the world today. And while the danger of a new world war still exists and the people of all countries must get prepared, revolution is the main trend in the world today. Thank you and good night.